people ask me still, like, what's the thing you're most scared about? And the top three things I'm most scared about are cyber, cyber, cyber. And it's everything is connected. You're sitting there working on a cyber connected device right now. And, the challenge is, how do we improve the communication between the big guys? I mean, the big banks, their walls are high and they're, for the most part, do a pretty amazing job. But as you cascade down to suppliers and the lower you go down in that supply chain, the greater the risks become. JP Morgan, Citi, these others, they can afford to spend huge, yes, they're regulated and yes, they have to put it in their reports and all that, but they need to do it because it makes good common sense. The challenge is how do we share those learnings to smaller businesses like yours, right? Because yours is just as great a risk as they are. And in some ways, if you're not protected, it puts them at risk as well. When you go to make your electronic transfer or something and your equipment has been infiltrated, you pass that virus along.
Well, not only that,
not to scare you, but
well, I mean, it's funny because like I had a big lesson. It's not so much cyber, but it is security aspect, or more like fraud. Because about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we had a fraudulent bank thing, and then all of a sudden my bank just shut us down, and I had to run payroll. And they're like, "Well, we're researching it." And luckily, I had an angel investor, and he's like, "Hold on, just to call the private banker." And it was amazing to me, the difference between Ryan Harper, the solopreneur, versus Ryan Harper with an angel investor.
Right.
Hey, this is a 2-week research, we'll get back to you, versus it's fixed within half a minute. And it was just like, oh, so that's the power of having, somebody with a wallet behind you. Yeah. There's no relevance there other than
I'm glad you had that.
I wish I had more.
You're in the private sector now, Global Orchard. Want to learn about that, and you consult private equity. I'm a M&A advisor, and so I deal with private equity because I buy the businesses that I represent. And I have had a number of discussions in the last several months related to cybersecurity, where companies that are subject to an acquisition are being attacked and then held for ransom. And it's I didn't realize that was a thing until recently.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's terrifying. I mean, it's fascinating. We're, Orchard Global, which is headquartered in Texas, offices all over the world. We're an amazing, super smart company, but we're tiny compared to like a Citadel.
Right.
But guess what? It doesn't make a difference. The challenges that our CEO has to face every single day, the challenges that the CEO of Citadel are all the same. If he messes up, if Ken messes up, they're 10x worse, just given their size. But we spend a lot of time, and I guess it's one of the advantages of, still being, kind of nimble. We're, while we're in Houston, we're in London, we're in Singapore, we're crossing all these time zones, that's so critically important. And we spend a huge amount of time internally looking not just at our own protections and how high our walls are, but to your point, we're not day traders. We're a private debt shop. Our stuff is, our CEO likes to say, it's very complicated, it's challenging, but people come to us to, when people want to stay rich, they come to us because that's what we give back. Our clients are sovereign wealth funds, our teacher unions, et cetera, and it's very important to us. They are trusting us, with their generation skipping investment strategies. And the world we live in now, like any little thing, yes, the president's current ups and downs on trade wars, yes, that plays a part. But the most important thing is, to what you were just saying, is what are we doing to safeguard all of our internal processes to ensure that we're able to be good custodial agents for our clients' business. And not to belabor the cyber topic, but that's the thing that keeps our guys up at night. And I will tell you, it's the thing that keeps Jamie Dimon up at night. Every significant financial services CEO worth their salt, it is the number one thing they're worried about. Are they reading the headlines every single day as to what the president is saying or not saying? To a degree. They're much more worried about controlling their own fate and protecting their investors, their employees, et cetera, on things like cyber. And that's the thing that is one of the single greatest challenges out there.
And given that, you would hope that government would ramp up their efforts. And instead, I read in preparation for this that the current new head of the Department of Homeland Security has indicated her intent to reduce the scope of cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency, suggesting it narrow its focus, and they've dismantled the Critical Infrastructure Partnership Advisory Council. This is scaring people.
I think you should be more than scared. I mean, this is another, I'm glad you brought that up because it's another sort of amazing example of if you can build trust between government and industry, wow, the problems you can solve and the problems you can prevent. And just by eliminating these advisory councils, forget eliminating all the other internal experts that are just, hundreds of years of expertise that we are flushing down the toilet. These partnerships, whether it was in the aviation space, there are 12 critical infrastructure sectors. Having the business leaders within those groups have the level of comfort to be able to talk to the people on the other side of the wall and in real time share these things. I mean, when I was at DHS, I mean, I can't tell you how many times, I would like pick up a phone and, reach out to a CEO and say, where are you? I need to come see you. I can't talk about it on the phone, but there's something you need to know. And there was a level of trust there. And they also knew that we were going to protect their secret sauce, their data, just like whether it be air quotes, a Google or an Amazon and such like that. They knew the trust went both ways, that if Amazon or Google or Microsoft, pick your tech company of choice, came to us with a real problem, there was a level of understanding that we weren't going to go to their rival and say, hey, guess what? Guess who just told us this? To eliminate this sort of level of sharing, information sharing, me personally, I mean, I'm terrified for it because I think everyone is going to retreat into their trenches and we're not going to share that information. And, it took, Governor Ridge, the first Secretary of Homeland Security, who I had the chance to meet any number of times. I mean, one of the most honorable, decent public servants you'll ever meet in your entire life. Yes, Republican, you wouldn't know it. Like, he went in there after one of the darkest days in American history, and President Bush gave him this honor to establish the Department of Homeland Security. And it's taken time. It's not been perfect by any means. There have been issues. It's bounced around. But over time, they've amassed 235,000 or so full-time employees who would go to bed every single night with the single mission of keeping the American people safe. And to break that apart and to get rid of that is just terrifying. I mean, much like, circling back to, here we are sitting in Dallas in this incredible facility at Old Parkland, the institutional knowledge of financial expertise of the people working here, how would you replace that? You can't. It's thousands of years of cumulative things that have been picked up. You as a 22-year-old young finance analyst compared to you, 49-year-old you, thank you, dramatically different, right?
Yeah.
You just, the tire, the miles under the tires adds up, and in this critical time in the world around us right now, to get rid of that, it's just a very scary thing.